unto the I Am, for he is good, his mercy endureth forever. Oh, give thanks unto the God of gods, for his mercy endureth forever. Oh, give thanks to the Lord of lords, or King of kings, his mercy endureth forever. To him who alone doth great wonders, for his mercy endureth forever. To him that stretched out the earth above the waters, for his mercy endureth forever. To him that made great lights, for his mercy endureth forever. To him the sun to rule by day, for his mercy endureth forever. The moon and stars to rule by night, for his mercy endureth forever. To him that smote Egypt in this firstborn, for his mercy endureth forever. And brought out Israel from among them, for his mercy endureth forever. With a strong hand and with a stretched out arm, for his mercy endureth forever. To him which divided the Red Sea into parts, for his mercy endureth forever. And made Israel to pass through the midst of it, for his mercy endureth forever. But overthrew Pharaoh in his hosts in the Red Sea, for his mercy endureth forever. To him which led his people through the wilderness, for his mercy endureth forever. To him which smote great kings, for his mercy endureth forever. And slew famous kings, for his mercy endureth forever. Sihon, king of the Amorites, for his mercy endureth forever. And Og, king of Bashan, for his mercy endureth forever. And gave their land for an heritage, for his mercy endureth forever. Even an outrage unto Israel his servant, for his mercy endureth forever. Who remembered us in our lowest state, for his mercy endureth forever. And hath redeemed us from our enemies, for his mercy endureth forever. Who giveth food to all flesh, for his mercy endureth forever. Oh, give thanks to Yahweh of heaven, for his mercy endureth forever. All praises to the Most High. Yes, yes, his mercy endureth forever. You hear these other religions and paganistic practices. Oh, they say grace. But without his mercy, we can have nothing. Because we are nothing, less than nothing. Even a drop in a bucket of the nations of the world before him. Yes, his mercy endureth forever. His hands are stretched out still toward the children of Jacob, and to those that will allow him to be their God. For his mercy endures forever. Yes, 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 yes. I can imagine that being even. This is getting me excited. But let us continue. That was Psalms chapter 136. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have swayed the thoughts of men's hearts. And let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me in my seed, that we go not astray henceforth and forever. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Oh, yes, yes, yes. We thank God for those of you that have been with us since the beginning, and those of you that have been with us here and there's about. And we thank the Most High for those of you that are viewing. Yes, even now. And we thank the Most High for those of you who have just subscribed, calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes, we give God the glory, even him who inhabits all things, for his mercy endureth forever. I cannot do anything without mercy. I mean, because in all my ways, I depend on God's mercy. Because he is holy. He is holy, in the ways that we have learned from growing up has been the way of sin, transgression against the law. We have learned to date and not to marry. We've learned to steal and not to give. We've learned many things. We've learned idolatry through our different religions we grew up in. But not to just have one God. One God who is all in all. Yes, his mercy endureth forever. Yes, we give God the glory and the praise. We're in the Second Chronicles chapter 14. As you prepare, you're walking with Mr. Clay. I am Mr. Clay, and we give God the praise and the glory for you, even calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes, all praises, all praises. Second Chronicles chapter 14. Chapter 14, and we're moving right along too. And so we've read about Abijah and how that he was rejected of God, and that because of something that he did, God said that Judah will be taken captive. But he humbled himself, and even though Israel, led by Jeroboam, God caused him to be delivered. And God slew Jeroboam in the midst of battle. Yes, because of his idolatries. These are the chronicles of the King Abijah, or Abijah. Yeah, that probably would be a Y. Abijah. Abijah. It sounds about the same. You had somebody else say it would be Abijah. That's what they would say. The J is there. In other words, people change things because they want to own it. You don't own God, and you don't own the Hebrew language. You don't own that. I'm not sorry either. So, verse 1, 2 Chronicles chapter 14. So Abijah slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city of David. And Asa, his son, reigned in his stead. In his days, the land was quiet 10 years. Now we understand that God, after Abijah had fought with the 10 tribes of Israel, that he had peace because they had turned back to the ways of the Most High. They started sacrificing. They started being obedient to the law, statutes, commandments, and ordinances of the Most High. Yes, and because of this, Asa, Abijah's son, reigned in his stead, and the land was quiet. In other words, the horsemen and their horses were at ease, according to the book of Zechariah. They were at ease, and they just sat under the myrtle tree. This is something God was showing him. But either way, we're not going to get into that, for we will do it in time to come. But verse 3, for he took away the altars of the strange gods and the high places, and break down the images. His father did not do these things, but he forsook the ways of idolatry. He didn't have no other men that were born of a virgin. They say they were born of a virgin, and they started bowing down to him vilely, regardless. God is not going to contradict himself. Men contradict God. So, in order to control you, that's how that goes. He says, now, he took away the altars of the strange gods and the high places, and break down the images, and cut down the groves, and commanded Judah to seek the I Am God of their fathers, and to do the law and the commandment. This is why, even if a man's ways please God, what? His enemies will be at peace with him. Now, and he took away all the cities of Judah, the high places and the images, and the kingdom was quiet before him. And he built cities in Judah, for the land had rest. The land had rest. They could build. The land had rest. They could read and understand knowledge and study and learn the ways of the Most High. Yes. And he had no war in those years, because the I Am had given him rest. Yes, and there remains a rest even for those of Israel. There's a rest for you. You don't have to worry about being caught in a traffic stop and your son or your daughter being deleted. You have to teach them from a child, from a baby, to worship God, to worship the only one. I ain't talking about no Isis. There's only one. Even the first commandment tells us this. One. There is no other God besides God. There is no others. He doesn't have any sons. God is the creator. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or Jacob, is the creator. He does not copulate with his creation. And he forbade even the angels to copulate with his creation. So how could he contradict himself? Let's call a buck a buck. I ain't speaking nothing but pure word here. But either way, verse 7, therefore he said unto Judah, let us build these cities and make about them walls and towers and gates and bars, while the land is yet before us. In other words, while we have peace. Because we have sought the I am our God, and we have sought him, and he has given us rest on every side, so they build and prosper. Then he said, if you don't let this book of the law pass from you, if you meditate on it day and night, did not Osha, even Joshua, say that you will have good success? Case in point. They built and prospered. How did they prosper? That they could complete what they build. You have to watch the wordplay when you're dealing with this colonizer language. Yes, you do. This is how it tricked us in the beginning. And Asa had an army of men and bare targets and spears out of Judah, and 300,000 out of Benoni, or Benjamin, as they would put it, that bare shields and drew bows, and 280,000, and all were mighty men of valor. In other words, they built up their armies. They fortified their cities. Yes. And there came out against him. Now here we go. See, he was wise, and that God gave him this rest. And there came out against the Zerah, the Ethiopian, the Cushite. I still can't remember the name that was before that. But Ethiopia, Cushites, with a host of 1,000,000, and 300 chariots came unto Marisha. Then Asa went out against them, and they set the battle in array in the valley of Zaphatha at Marisha. And Asa cried unto the I am. Now this is what you do. Listen. Burkina Faso and other nations and peoples that would deal with their enemies, that ask God to deliver them in your hands, whether it's legally, in war, or diplomacy. You cry out, because either one you're going to have to battle. There's a legal battle, there's a diplomatic battle, and then there's actual war. Cry out to the Most High. Asa cried unto the I am in verse 11 and said, O Yahweh, it is nothing with thee to help. He knew that these people was nothing before the Most High, and he was assured, whether there be many with them or that have no power, help us. O Yahuwah our God, for we rest on thee. Listen, he prayed. We rest on you. We rest on your power, your might, your spirit. We rest on you. This is before us. We see the battle set in array. We see the tanks. We see the men with guns. We see them coming at us. We see them on their pickups with their big 8mm or their 60 cals. Their big rocket launchers. We see these things. But for we rest on you, and in thy name we go against this multitude. Oh, Sanini Nanini, thou art our God. Let no man prevail against thee. Because if they defeat me, they defeat you, because I represent you. They know that we are of you. Even these Ethiopians or Cushites, they know we defeated God, because your God cannot help you. You think God is going to allow that when you have really given your life and your way unto the Most High? You think he's going to allow them to defeat you? No. So the I am smote the Egyptians before Asa and before Judah, and the Egyptians fled. Oh, all praises to the Most High, all praises, they fled. And Asa and the people, in verse 13, that were with him pursued them unto Gilgal. And the Egyptians were overthrown, that they could not recover themselves, for they were destroyed before the I am and before his host, and they cried away very much, carried away very much spoil. In other words, God not only blessed him because the battle was there to believe God. The battle wasn't the Ethiopian, the battle was to believe Yahweh, Yahuwah, Yahusha. Yes. Or should I say Yahuwah, not Yahusha, whatever that is. But either way, that was the battle. The battle was to believe God. In your mind, in your heart, to believe God, to have confidence in the Most High. I ain't talking about no faith. That's one of them old Latin words. I don't care about that. But to believe and have confidence in God. That's more of a clear definition. Because when I have confidence in somebody, I know they're going to do what they're going to do. Yes. Now, and Asa and the people pursued them. And they could not recover themselves, for they were destroyed before the I am and before his host, and they carry away very much spoil. Boys, God's trying to put stuff right back into his temple. That's God, these nations of the world are nothing before the Most High. They're nothing. They're less than nothing. They're dropping the bucket. Why should you fear Burkina Faso? Why should you fear Mali or Niger? Why should you fear South Africa? Why should you fear, Uganda? Why should you fear? You have all that you need. Congo, why should you fear? U.S., why should you fear? Down in South Africa, Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, why should you fear? When the battle is set before you, your confidence is in God, not in this thing. They will foretell, we can beat you. Look at our armament. But look at God. You've got to look at God. I know this. Yes, it's a scary thing to watch those things coming at you. But God will stand up for himself because of you. Now, we ain't talking about this churchy stuff. No, we ain't throw it out. We ain't talking about no church stuff. We talking about real. This is what we talking about, real stuff. Some of you can't handle this because you've been so indoctrinized, so fairy tale-ish. The fairy tales of the New Testament. Fairy tales. If God don't defeat your enemies, then there's something wrong with you. Or you call on God like he's a magic word. No. You turn from your wicked ways just like they did and seek after the Most High. Turn to his commandments, statutes, and ordinances. Isn't this how the examples are? They first turned to God. This is both of these chapters. They first turned to the Most High, his commandments, statutes, and ordinances. God giving them rest because they did so, that they might fortify themselves. Then they came for the test. Do you have confidence in God, or do you have confidence in what you see? Let's get it together now. Hallelujah. He gives us rest. Yes, he does. Yes, this is a time to fast and pray all over Africa. All of those who have to deal with these ones who think themselves better than you, and you are lower than the dust, even the dogs that are their pets. You have to trust in God. You have to look at him. It's not by your might, no by your power, no by all your armament and your drones and all this. It's not by that, but by my spirit, saith the I am. That's what it's by. Forget what you see when you're leaning on the Most High, when you have no way to turn. Sometimes he corners some of you just to make you believe. stiff-necked. They were destroyed before the Most High, and they smote the cities all around Gerar in verse 14. For the fear of the I Am came upon them, and they spoiled all the cities, for there was exceeding much spoil in them. When fear comes upon you, and you doing what's right before the Most High, as far as his commandments, statutes, ordinances, and laws, that is evil to you. But when fear comes upon your enemies, that their hairs raise upon their heads, and they begin to see, and they begin to feel something kind of crazy, and they begin to run, and they get slain, and God does things to them, then that fear comes from the Most High. What were the Ethiopians wanting from the children of Israel anyway, of Judah? What did they want? It's closer. They was going after them. The northern place has already been overran. They've been taken captive, put in the land of the Babylonians and all these, the Persians and the Medes. Yes, they were. And they smote all the cities about Gedor, for the fear of the I Am came upon them, and they spoiled all the cities, for there was exceeding much spoil in them, gold and everything else. God took his stuff back from them. And they smote all the tents of the cattle, and carried away the sheep and camels in abundance, and returned to Jerusalem. So apparently they had to go toward Ethiopia. So you have to realize, back in those days, the Red Sea, as you know, it wasn't as wide as we think it was. Things stretch out. God tried to give you a sign when he showed you how they say Africa is splitting. He's giving you a sign there, and you don't see it, but you're looking. Stop listening to these colonizers. See God in all things. You see that thing opening, you say, God, what are you trying to do? Please show me. You see something happening, God, what are you doing? Please show me. Help me, that I might know and prepare. And they smote, in verse 15, and they smote also the tents of cattle, and carried away sheep and camels in abundance, and returned to Jerusalem. So he's saying the Ethiopians were trying to colonize Israel instead of staying where they were. That's what they were trying to do. But God said, no, you're Canaanites. Your brother already done this stuff. And I made him a servant of servants, just like I prophesied unto his father. See, you have to stop listening. See, this stuff is true. You have to really look at this word and ask God for understanding. And number two, know how to read, even in your language. It's all, language laws are the same everywhere you go. There's subjects. There are nouns, there are predicates. They are all the same. That even comes from the Egyptians. They already knew this. They just translated into English. There was already laws of language either way. Guess who wrote the alphabet, the Koresh language, where you got your Quran? It was a black man. Yes, my proof. It was written by Gert Mueller and Anubantu, the history of the black Hebrews and Arabs. Yes, if you must know where I get my stuff from. Don't come here with that stuff. Now, we thank God that they have done this, and these are the Chronicles of Asa, whose grandfather was Solomon, whose grandfather was David, whose grandfather was Boaz. Yes. And you have to realize they all married women of other peoples. Yeah, they did. They were black folk, but they married. Boaz married a Moabitess. She was a Shemite, but she was a Moab, an incestual people. They were brought because of incest. Now you got That you come down, I don't know about their father Jesse, but it doesn't come into that detail. But David, he married a Hittite, and she birthed him a son that was, for what reason God did this, it's evident. And then from there, Solomon married all kind of women. It's crazy. But the fact is, God did that which he did with Solomon. Yes. And now we're into the split. And we see how the example of Asa, and before that his father, yes, Abiah, how that God had given them peace because they turned back unto the commandments, statutes, and ordinances of the Most High, and have given them victory, as Joshua said in Joshua 1:8, and you shall have good success. Doesn't mean you're going to be rich, no. The heck are you coming from? No. You will have good success in whatever you do. In other words, your job will last, your battles will be won. Many things, you will have good success. Stop listening to these Christian folks. This is where the examples come from of what God means when he says what he says. And with that, we gonna say peace.
Walk with me.